Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NFL Alumni Radio Row. A man that needs no introduction, the great Broadway Joe Namath. Joe, how are you?
Well, Charlie, I'm thankful. That's what I am. I'm thankful. I'm healthy and excited to visit with you for a while.
Absolutely. You know what they say, once Radio Row hits to you, Joe Namath. Back to work. Back to work, Joe Namath.
Nice going. Thanks
that
for
hangs on our wall here at the Alumni Lounge.
That's cool, man. You brought back some wonderful memories right there real quick.
What was when you look at the brand that came out of football, I know you came into the league as one of the best ball players in the country. Did you ever expect all of the commercial angles that were going to come around you?
No, I wasn't prepared for that myself, but fortunately I had a college friend, a man who was brighter than I, and he was able to handle some of the education for me, and certainly the commercials, et cetera, endorsements and all. James Walsh was my buddy, and he still is, and we still work together. But no, I didn't know what to expect. I went there to play football. That was it. I didn't sign with the Jets because of New York City per se. I signed because of the ownership with the Jets. They were terrific, Mr. Hess, Mr. Werblin, and I believed in them and the AFL.
Yeah, sure. The AFL, the small dog on the block, ladies and gentlemen, that became the big dog because of one Joe Namath. How did you look at the AFL versus the NFL coming up out of college?
I was watching the AFL when I was in high school.
Wow.
My senior year. They started in '60, the AFL, and I remember seeing the Denver Broncos. And to this day, I don't know why someone hasn't brought this back, but the Denver Broncos had stockings, long stockings, with vertical stripes.
Yes.
We don't see any vertical stripes. Where are they? I thought that was so cool. But I watched the AFL while I was in college, and I knew they could play some ball. I saw some terrific athletes, and the leagues were competing at the time when I came out. My senior year, they were in competition, and before that. So I just wanted to play football for somebody at the time, and the AFL, I knew they could play.
I always wondered what kind of relationship, if there was one, did you and Al Davis have? Two guys that had to get along great.
Well, Mr. Davis was a friend with our owners. They shared maybe some interest in the thoroughbred horses. I remember sitting beside Mr. Davis down at Monmouth Racetrack.
Wow.
Before I guess it was after my rookie season. Might have been going into my second season. And Al was wonderful. I mean, he had a spirit about him, an energy about him that I appreciated. A lot of people appreciated. And that just win, baby. That was his motto. And any way you can, I believe. Yeah. But we were sitting at the racetrack and just talking, looking at the trying to read the racing form, see if we could find some winners, And then out of left field, kind of, Al started talking football. And he says, Joe, he says, when you're going back to pass, he said, who are you looking at over there? How do you tell what a defense is doing? I said, well, Al, first of all, I caught myself. I looked at him. I said, "Oh man, you dog! You trying to find out something?" Yeah. He was sharp, and we had a pretty good relationship all the time, and we were around each other. Again, he is a Brooklyn guy, and New York, New Jersey. He was hip to what was going on.
And those were some matchups there with those Raiders and Jets. How about Kenny Stabler? You guys, it's like that's a real Butch and Sundance right there, guys. Following each other at Bama and then being two of the most fun legends in our league.
Kenny, I love Kenny. I mean, anybody that knew him really appreciated Kenny, and what a great player! What a great player! He's not. He left us too soon.
That's sure.
But my man could play. And those Raiders, I never knew the Raiders to have a bad team.
Right.
They were always in the hunt, man.
Right.
They were always tough and competing and winning. So when we won the AFL championship and to get to the Super Bowl, to get to go, we had some battles with the Raiders.
Oh my God!
A few years prior to that too,
Good Lord!
And even that championship game was a tough one. Charlie, I said that years ago. I said the toughest game, the worst beating I ever took in a game, and we won, was against the Raiders in the championship.
No joke. That is no joke right there.
Yeah.
And folks, when you look at how NFL alumni guys have they retire from the league, and Joe, something a lot of guys have trouble with is transitioning into business, or what do they do once they retire? It's something that you did extremely well. How about even in the early days, you and Mickey Mantle with the staffing agency? How did that idea come about?
Well, first of all, I see George Lois's face from Lois Holland and Callaway. George was a wonderful ad agency man. He was an artist at putting commercials together. That's how it came about. Mickey and I were able to get to know each other. And there's another guy we lost too soon, man. But today, let's, in a sense, back then, the players didn't have the kind of guidance that they're getting today. Right. And I'm just thrilled with the way the game has evolved into what we have today. Yeah. The players are getting help even in college, getting better educations, getting better understanding. When we talk about the Crimson Tide and Nick Saban and what they've done over there, he'll tell you, he said he learned from the guys before him, the coaches ahead of him, the systems, we learned from history, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so the players are represented better now than they've ever been, and they're able to get prepared. They're able to go get taught what to expect. They know before coming in
absolutely
how to handle the thing.
And that's crazy, too, as a young man getting this lump sum of money put on your lap. What's one thing going back you wish you knew in regard to, was there any money management early on? You make any purchases you regretted, or any investments you were like, want that back?
You know what? I had some guidance. Again, the ownership of the Jets were fine. They were helping me. My first agent actually was he's still with us. He's 91 years old, Mr. Michael Heichel Bite from Bite and Bite Attorneys.
That's a nice attorney name right there.
Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah. Michael represented me early on, and then when Jimmy Walsh finished law school and came to New York and passed the bar in New York, and we started working together because I needed contact with New York constantly, the kind of business contact, and Jimmy's been wonderful. So I don't dwell on regrets, or you ask me what would I do differently, probably a lot of things, but I don't even want to go there. I'm grateful. I'm filled with gratitude now where I am, man, where my family is and how things are going.
Absolutely. And Joe, now, is it serious that Joe Namath may return 2021 on the field for the New York Jets to lead this team back to the promised land? Any truth to that rumor?
I got to see that offensive line for one thing. No, there's no truth to that rumor at all. Of course, if I could play, I'd still be playing, Charlie. I think most of us that played the game, uh, practically all of us, we enjoyed playing as children, as kids growing up, man. And if we're physically fit, like Tom Brady,
How
is
about this guy?
physically fit better than ever. These guys have been. I used to marvel at George Blanda just being 40. And some of the cats, Johnny, you would say, well, George, he's a kicker, you know, he hasn't played as much, but he could still throw, man, in his
Oh
40s.
yeah,
But again, the athletes today in all sports have benefited from the prior people,
absolutely.
trainers, the nutritionists, you know, I mean, they eat the right thing, they work year
Mhm.
round. Uh, I had guys on our team, we had guys on our team that would go to work in the morning at
Double
9
jobbers.
o'clock and work at least 3 hours because some of them were making 10,000 a season, $10,000, and they had to supplement that with another job.
Yeah.
So we had guys on the team that not only had the job of playing football professionally, but had to work in another area to provide for their families.
Even growing up in Jersey, I'd always hear stories. My kindergarten teacher would tell me Yogi Berra was, would work. I think it was at a shoe store, and he was working up there in Jersey. This is Yogi Berra. You hear that now? This guy would have been one of the highest paid guys in the world.
Yes, that's right. And boy, you mentioned another classic there with Yogi.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. Joe Namath, Ken Stabler, and Mickey Mantle, folks, hold the distinct honor of needing the least amount of sleep before going out and dominating on the field of play. Nobody's going to take that one from you.
Charlie, my rookie season in New York, I'm in a nightclub called the Pussycat. All right, 49th Street between First and Second Avenue, south side of the street. And the reason I was there is the Playboy Bunnies, after they got off work, would come over there. And the night manager lived in the same building I lived in. So he told me, come on by over here,
It's a layup.
Yeah, you meet some nice people. So I'm down at the end of the bar by myself one night, and my buddy comes over to me, the manager, and Jack says, "Hey, Joe, have you ever met Whitey Ford yet?" It's
Wow.
my first year in New York. I said, "Whitey Ford? No, man, but I'll watch him. I think he's sensational." He said, "How about Billy Martin?" I said, "Oh, man, no, but I'd like to someday be able to meet him." He said, "You ever meet Mickey Mantle?" I said, "No, come on, man. I'm just, He said, "Come on, come with me a minute." He took me over to the front of the joint, the table up in the corner in the front, and there was Mickey and Whitey and
Come
Billy.
on.
Yeah, man. I couldn't believe it. I just sat there. They let me sit down, and I just sat there and was all ears, boy, just listening to them, watching them, not believing the guys that I'm sitting with. I love baseball,
Yeah.
but seeing these three guys, being that close to them, that was one of the highlights of my life.
Man, that is incredible. And you go on to be on the Mount Rushmore of New York legends, man. It's a beautiful life. And Joe, who you got this Sunday? You going with the young rising star or the lion on top of the mountain?
This is easy for me, Charlie. Over the years, even when I was playing and somebody had asked me, what do you think, Joe? I
Right.
said, look, if I knew anything, I'd call home first and tell my family, all right? Secondly, I do know that either team can win.
Yeah.
Either team can win. Teams beat themselves a lot of the times by making mistakes like lining up offsides before the snap of the ball. They can line up offsides, boom,
Right.
mental errors, turnovers, which are caused sometimes by the defense, but turnovers that we foul up with. Knowing people with both teams and being a fan, I don't pick games when that happens, but I know it's going to be a good game. I know. I believe it's going to be a good game, and it's going to come down to the team that plays the best that day. You know, we can't get out of our own way on some days. You get out of bed and you bump into a table, man. You start walking. Some days just, you go, what's going on here? You know, whether you're on a ball field or not, whether you're on a golf course, you know, or you're going to work, you spill coffee on you. You know, there's some days it's just not meant to be. I'm excited to watch this game coming up because both teams, I like people on both teams. Let me put it
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. So, folks, from the king of the guarantee, he will guarantee. The only thing is there are no guarantees when he's not on the field.
Two of them, two guarantees, other than our victory. We got to move on to another level sometime, but before that, we got to pay taxes.
So we might as well enjoy it while we're here, folks.
Taxes is moving on, you know, yes.
Back to work, Joe Namath.
Oh, man, thank you for the memory.
Joe, thank you so much for taking the time to visit us, man.
You bet, Charlie, anytime.